The Occupy movement is not going away. It's a civil rights movement. It's a movement to change the world. It's a movement to get engaged, to be a part of, to exercise your democratic rights. And that's why we see attacks on the Constitution, attacks on the fundamental freedoms we have, peaceful assembly, and so forth. I ended up producing a documentary called The Toronto G20 Exposed, putting all their indiscretions out there in video evidence, and it didn't get me any fans by the Toronto police. I've been targeted time and time again. One, for being a voice, for speaking up, for exercising my constitutional rights. Since I've started, I've been targeted and apprehended by over 20 police officers. I have no criminal record before producing that movie, and I still don't have a criminal record because I fought tooth and nail in the court systems, and I got all those trumped up charges dropped by the judges. Because I didn't stand for this corrupt government. I didn't stand for Harper's government, or McGuinty's government, or the Ford government. I stood #1 for the people, and I'll continue to speak up for the people and bring peaceful protests wherever I go. You are under attack. The pursuit of happiness is under attack. You see it with inflation in the grocery stores. What are you paying for? Military weapons to take us into war. That's what you're paying for. Fighter jets and super prisons and military armed drones to be used on Canadians one day. And you're going to say enough is enough, and you're going to say enough with scientists being oppressed. Enough with environmentalists being oppressed in this country. They stand for the native lands. People are getting poisoned out in those native lands because of cancer, because of what those oil industries are doing. People are dying because of this corrupt regime. You know, I think we have a real chance to engage Canadians across the country, and this is why we're here today. These are people that really care about democracy, about their freedoms, about their constitution. Stephen Harper wears lipstick, for God's sakes. What? He wears lipstick. That's true. It's true. What? He ain't a leader of the people. He's a puppet of the corporations, and we know it. He subverted democracy in this country, and that means we gotta take it back.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Remi Review. This is the Remi Review. It's the show where we don't jerk you around. I'm just a musician. I don't have any money. Clearly, I don't have any money. I mean, this jacket's covered in cat hair. Incredibly excited. I had an amazing interview with Derek Soberal, who is the founder of the Occupy Canada webpage, has 52,000 people watching it. I first saw Derek speak at a voter suppression rally. This was a little over a year ago. If you're under a rock or something and you haven't heard that Stephen Harper and the Conservatives stole our election here in Canada, say there were 6 million calls made on behalf of the Conservative Party to trick people, and now they're putting these budgets out that have hundreds of pages of rewrite to Canadian laws. They're changing the laws of our country. And see, a lot of what Derek says isn't palpable to the mainstream audience. And you know, when I was making this show, it was soon after I'd seen Derek speak at one of these voter suppression rallies, and in designing this show, I thought to myself, you know, I gotta wear a suit and tie too. Anyway, and it's ironic that you gotta wear this outfit. I think it's kind of silly. This is the uniform. This is what people wear when they commit genocide, when they perpetrate atrocities on poor and working people all over the world, millions of people dying from hunger-related diseases and starvation every single year. 1 million kids die every year from food problems, not getting enough food. And it's perpetrated by the people wearing this because they're running the economic system.
Tell them, Remi!
They've maintained these old colonial methods where you don't let people prosper from the ground beneath them. You make them dependent. Now, the media will constantly try and portray Occupy and these protesters as lazy and violent. That's what we get. We need $1 billion worth of cops at the G20 because there's going to be a violent mob of peaceful protesters. That's what you do if you're lazy. You go out into the streets and start shouting about things that you're angry at. That's what you do when you're lazy. People don't do that. Lazy people stay home. Lazy people don't do things. These are not lazy people. These are dedicated, courageous people who are trying to change the world. They're doing it for poor and working people all over the world, because this is how we're going to liberate ourselves from this criminal banking cartel that has occupied our governments. And that's what Occupy means. That's why they occupied Wall Street, because Wall Street has occupied our governments. They've occupied our democracy, and they went there and said, damn it, we're going to occupy you.
Show them how it is.
Maybe you should implicate the people who order the police, who order a massive armed force out into the streets. Maybe they're the ones that are perpetrating violence. Wouldn't that make a little bit more sense, that it's not the peaceful protesters, it's the lines of people in uniforms with weapons, that maybe, just maybe, that's the violent side? Stephen Harper's a liar. He's a criminal. He's a bullshit artist. If he were to get into debate with someone who's actually saying things, who's actually critical of the problems in our society, he'd be made into a total fool. And that's why he doesn't debate. He doesn't talk to people who are dissenting, to criticism. He doesn't want to listen to the lawyers who are protesting, to the scientists and doctors who are protesting. He doesn't want to listen to any of this.
Newsstand.
So the CBC did some coverage of the Occupy events that went across Canada, across the United States, across the world. There were Occupy events. This is classic propaganda style reinventing of a term, taking over a debate and changing what it means. They put right in the title of their article, Occupy protesters ask, what's next? So now the CBC, they didn't actually go into the street and ask someone and get that response. I'm not sure why it's in quotes. They wrote that quote. I mean, if you go into the streets and you ask a protester what they want to see done, damn it, they've got all kinds of things that they want to see done. That's why they're in the streets in the first place. Of course they have things that they want to see done. Of course they know what they want next. And the stupidest thing, and I think I'm stealing this from Derek, this was on the Occupy Canada webpage that he'd posted the CBC article, and in their CBC article they had a picture of people holding a massive banner that says Stop Harper. Yeah, that's what's next. Read your own image. Pretty straightforward, but the CBC, they're full of shit. It's not that they missed the point. It's not that they don't understand it. They're propagandists. They're trying to convince the mainstream, the people that will only listen to a guy in a suit, that these people on the street, these protesters, are crazy, lazy, violent, don't know what they want. It's just bullshit. The message is not unfocused. It's just that there are so many damn things to be angry about, and people come in from all different causes into this one cause that's the Occupy Wall Street. Get rid of Wall Street and you get rid of all these other problems. They've put their puppets into the parties that we elect. So now you have a guy like Stephen Harper, whose dad worked for Big Oil. You've got people connected to Goldman Sachs working in the highest levels of government everywhere around the world. This is all coming from one place.
That's what we're all sharing. We're doing the like button and the share button and posting the videos in the news so Canadians can wake up to your corrupt criminal government that doesn't care about you. They only care about profits.
Just a quick generic question, Derek. Why are you here today?
Because I love Canada, I love democracy, and what Harper, the regime, is doing to Canada is dismantling our fundamental freedoms. They're attacking scientists, environmentalists, civil rights, human rights, you name it, down the board. People are being attacked in this country. They don't want us to have a say in our democracy. And this is in tandem, in solidarity with Occupy Wall Street, the one-year anniversary. And also, this is the day that Parliament resumes. We have hundreds of people up in Ottawa today with the Ontario Federation of Labour showing support for workers because they're being under attack in this country. We're going to see massive cuts. What this government is engaged in is the election fraud, illegal bills that they're passing through, like Bill C-30, the spying bill on Canadians.
Sure, yeah.
We temporarily defeated that. There's also the budget bill that they streamlined through. The Auditor General of Canada, the budget watchdog, said that they're illegally suppressing the transparency on $5.2 billion worth of cuts yet to come. And another budget watchdog just recently took them to court on the F-35 fighter jets, and they literally took them to court, took the budget watchdog to court to suppress the budget watchdog.
Yeah.
So we literally have a dictatorship in Canada. People have to wake up to it. I'm just here trying to engage Canadians. I'm trying to start the conversation with everybody that's happening across the country. And it's important that civilian journalists, that activists, that people that care about the future of this country get involved.
Absolutely.
And we have a website, a community online. It's called occupycanada.org.
Yep.
And right now we have 52,000 people that are there, that are getting the news, that's accessible to everybody. And that's the first part, is informing people and allowing people to have a say and stepping up. And I think that's why we have the open mic here.
Yeah, of
so
course.
everybody can speak up, you know?
So would you say it's working then?
It's working,
is
yeah. I mean,
have we got a future as citizens? Is this?
I think we have to keep going on in the long run, because this isn't going to be a battle that we're going to win overnight. We can't just go to one peaceful protest.
Yeah.
We have to go to multiple ones.
Absolutely.
We have to stand in solidarity with our scientists that are protesting across the country, with the doctors that are against the refugee healthcare cuts. I mean, they are attacking social services, probably all because they're putting their money into military spending, like the F-35 fighter jets, the $1 billion that are going to armed drones, the agenda to privatize the prisons when crime rates are at their lowest point in 40 years. And now we got corrections officers protesting across Canada because of the double bunking and
the terrible conditions.
Conditions and gangs battling in the jails.
Yeah.
And that's like a crisis that this Harper government created.
Yeah.
You know, and they brought in an American corporation called GEO, which is an American corporation that is connected to Stephen Harper.
Okay.
And they're going to profit off of billions of dollars off of this privatization of jails if they're allowed to streamline that through.
Yeah.
So I mean, the environmental sector has been dismantled. Assessments that were a democracy, a fabric of our democracy to debate if these pipelines are good for communities or not.
Yeah. Elections Canada too. I mean.
Elections Canada has been dismantled.
Sure.
Basically, they cut the funding by $7.5 million during an ongoing investigation into election fraud. Also, the
Wouldn't that be
Conservatives.
nice, eh? If you could do that, you go to court. No, we're going to get rid of the judge. Sorry.
Charge.
Yeah.
Also, they blocked evidence from being submitted into court cases. 7 writings that are disputed with the Council on Canadians.
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, it's targeting, attacks, suppression, you name it. This is what this government is engaged in.
Yeah.
I like to say, Stephen Harper is not the Prime Minister; he's the Crime Minister.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what he is.
That's good.
So I mean, you can go on Occupy Canada. I encourage people to go on there to be informed. 52,000 Canadians. We're growing numbers each and every week. It's growing, and I think this is a movement from open media to Council of Canadians to the scientific community to the doctors. This is an unprecedented revolution that we've never seen.
Yeah, it affects so many different groups at once, right?
Public
Just have to get everyone together.
Yeah. So it's going to take everybody coming together. Native groups, also people that are against just the attack on basic freedoms and democracy in this country.
Yeah. It's one enemy. That's the thing.
There's
a lot of causes, but there's one enemy.
The puppet, he works for the corporations and the banksters.
Sure.
And you know, they're drumming the Iran war. That's what they're doing. They're drumming for a war.
Absolutely.
And basically, we don't want that. It's propaganda, just like they lied about weapons of mass destruction.
Yep.
And they want to send Canadians off to fight for a war for profits.
Yep.
And we can't allow that. And they want the distraction from their criminal acts as well. That's what a war does in Iran.
Yeah,
it makes us look off in the Middle East and not pay attention to what they actually engage in. So across the line, we don't want GMOs coming into our country. It's voluntary that they do the labeling, and we want it to be mandatory.
Yeah, most of the world it is, right? Just here,
Canada,
right?
It's not.
Yeah.
And he's allowing the GMO companies like Monsanto to come in. That's why they illegally dismantled the wheat board, the Canadian wheat board.
Sure, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 60% voted against it, and they still did it.
They were found to be illegal.
Yeah.
It's sometimes people feel like it's overwhelming, but that's why going to one community page or multiple to get the information, and then you're engaged.
Sure, yeah.
And you know you have to do something. You got to stand with your fellow Canadians.
Absolutely.
So we need to take back Canada, and that's what we need to do across the country. And it's going to be, we need to be in for the long haul.
Absolutely.
And we need to defeat Harper in the streets because he has dismantled the parliamentary process as well.
Yeah. I want to be around for the next 50 years and have an actual social system and a
sustainable community. We need better technology, not pipelines.
Yeah.
You know, we have the technology.
Sure.
We have the solar panels. We have different forms of technology that we can create in Canada. Germany's doing it, other countries are doing it. We need to step up, and it shouldn't just be about profits, it should be about the longevity of our future generations.
Sure.
And that's what we need. We're fighting not for ourselves, actually, for the future generations of Canada. And we gotta put our foot down, say enough is enough.
Yeah, this is it, right?
This is it.
If not now, when?
Yeah, when? Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Derek.
Thank you, cheers.
I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
All right.